Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Corinne, going by Naughty Nautilus here, and this is my very first FlossTube video. And I'm going to go ahead and start with a WIP parade. So, but first I want to introduce you to me a little bit and what kinds of things you might expect to see on this channel. And I'm sorry, I keep looking down at my notes. So, as I said, my name is Corinne. I live in Louisiana, but I'm originally from California. And I'm actually a marine biologist by trade. I work in research, doing genetics of marine mammals. So you'll see lots of oceany type things in my stitching, and also a little bit of nerdy things as well. I have been a crafter since I was a kid. Like, I was the kid who had the birthday party, and there was always some craft you had to do. I ended up mostly getting into crochet and did that for many, many years. I did learn to cross stitch as a kid, but it didn't really stick. I really took off with the crocheting part, and I came back to cross stitch in 2019. I think I was just looking for a change of pace. I got tired of crocheting blankets. That's mostly what I did. And then so I picked up cross stitch again and did a few things, and it's kind of just grown since then. I also started to learn to quilt in 2019. So I also do that. I will probably eventually share some of that, but with any crafting, or any sort of thing, I flow between. I have times where I do a lot of it, and then I might not do that craft for months. So, for instance, I had a period last year of about 4 or 5 months where I didn't really do any crafting at all. I got really into reading, and then I've kind of come back around. Cross stitch picked up first. Quilting's been a little slow getting onto it. In general, so for cross stitch, in general, I like to keep a lower WIP count. I was a monogamous stitcher when I started in 2019, and I think in 2020 I realized that having 2 was kind of nice because I could flip between when I didn't feel like stitching on the one, and it kind of went up from there over the years, and last year is when it really got crazy for me. I had about 5 to 6, no, I don't even know if it was 5 to 6, it might have only been 4 projects about this time last year, but then I had to have a knee surgery in which I was going to be non-weight bearing for 4 weeks and then slowly going up from there. So I spent a lot of time on the couch. So I kitted up some more cross stitch projects to keep myself entertained for 4 to 6 weeks. So yeah, we're at 12 now. So that's kind of a lot for me. And I really am trying to make progress on the ones that I have. I have started a few, but they're kind of quicker projects that should be done in a month or so. And you'll see, I'll talk about those when we're there. But I will go ahead and start showing you those WIPs. So this is my oldest WIP. It's started March 11th in 2022. So this is Voyage at Sea by Dimensions, and I have it in the packaging. So this is what it'll look like when it's done. And it's a Dimensions Gold Petite. And I wanted to try it because I wanted to get into some more of the fancier types of stitching. So this is where I'm at. This has not been worked on since probably February of last year. This was my work piece, so I would take this to work and work on it during meetings. And it got cycled out of that when I had to have my surgery. So, and I maybe picked it up once or twice after surgery, and then I just haven't. And honestly, I kind of just have been ignoring its existence until today, and I looked at it and I was like, that's looking really cool. So maybe we'll see progress on this one. But that's my oldest WIP. I cannot remember where I got this needle minder from, but I felt it was appropriate. You'll see a lot of marine themed needle minders. I also want to say I like ships as well. I do know how to sail. I spent time in college in a sailing club, a lot of time on the water. So that's my oldest WIP. And this is just the kit fabric. I think it's 18 count ivory Aida and all the kit floss and everything, and doing it as called for in the kit. My next WIP, sorry, I'm looking at my stuff. This is my Dilophosaurus from Outlaw Stitching on Etsy, and I'll have to insert a cover photo. Okay, so that's what it looks like. This is where I am, and this is about 60% complete, a little over 60%. This was actually on my WIP Go board, so I am doing WIP Go to try to get myself to work on these projects. So this was one of my WIP Go calls for February, and this little on-brand needle minder is from Outlaw Stitching, as is the pattern. And so it's turning out really cool. I think I started working on color completing this. So I had a whole bunch of stuff, and there was little bits of confetti, and there's cat hair on this because I own 3 cats, 3 of them, and keeping their hair off of things is impossible. But I started color completing this, and I think I had just most recently did all of the blue, and then there was all these little ones, the little confetti stitches. And so I started color completing those. So this is on my WIP Go board, I think 2 more times. It'll be one to get it to 80% and another time to get it completed. This isn't, actually I don't remember if this is 18 count or 16 count. It's an 18 count, probably Zweigart in teal green. I purchased it from a local L&S. They had a bin of like older Aida for I think it was like $5 for this piece, so I picked up a couple things of it, and I thought the green looked really nice. So I don't know for sure if it's Zweigart. I don't think there's a selvage edge on it. And this I made my own grime guard for this one. I do leave this in a Q-snap since it fits. I leave most of my projects in Q-snaps because I'm lazy. I did take some out for this so you could see the whole thing. But that's my Dilophosaurus. I'm trying to keep these organized. My next oldest WIP is actually Mirabilia. So this is Mediterranean Mermaid, and she is my first Mirabilia. So this is where she is. I don't know if I can insert a cover photo, you see what she looks like, but here's where she is. So I am in the tail now, so everything from her like torso up is completed stitching wise there, except for the back stitching and the beading. And I cannot remember where I got this needle minder from, but I felt it was very appropriate for a mermaid. So she is my first Mirabilia. She was why I wanted to start the dimensions, to learn some of the half stitches and things like that. And she's also my first time with Krynic or specialty threads. So that was fun. I got into this in January. So she is also on my WIP Go board. I want to finish her this year. It's a travesty that she was started in December of 2022 and she was not finished last year. So she was on my WIP Go board. So I finished the upper portion of her, and I had part of the fin and part of her skin and part of her hair already completed. So she was called in January. She has been called again for this month. So my goal is to get half of her tail finished. I do have to, it's going to get crumpled up a little bit here, but I do have to frog this little section. It's like half a stitch off. I counted wrong. So I do have to frog that out before I continue on, but hopefully she will be done this year. I am trying to keep I want to keep doing, I have several other Mirabilias and Fancy Ladies and Mermaids I want to do, but I don't really want to have more than one at a time, so I want to finish her so I can start the next one. So that is the Mediterranean Mermaid, and she is on a, this is a 25 count Lugana, I believe. I have no idea who it's from, and it's like a minty or something like that. This came from my local L&S. Unfortunately, my local L&S closed, so I no longer have one. But I did get that there. All right, my next one is actually, let's see, look at my dates. Okay, so while I was indisposed because of surgery, I decided to start this project. So this is my BAP. This is, I'll insert a picture of what this looks like. This is Calamity Tapestry by Craftigurumi. So if you're a Zelda Breath of the Wild fan, this is a pattern for you. And I have a measly, I can't remember, is it 2% or just under 2% up there. So this is my gigantic piece. This is a 25 count mushroom Lugana. So this thing is going to be gigantic. I think the fabric's an entire yard. I special made this grime guard to be like extra wide to try to hold all the fabric. This was a whole thing of trying to figure out what's the best way to work on it. I will say the 17 by 17 Q-snap, it doesn't stay in my I have a Lowry stand and it just falls out. So it's kind of a goblin mode how I stitch this because it's so big and unruly, but it's the fabric management was such a struggle that this was the best solution. So this whole top corner is done, and I had just started the letters. And this, again, this is a gigantic project. So it's gonna take time. I want to finish it by the time I'm 40. That gives me 4 more years to do it. So we'll see. This is the Calamity Tapestry, and then I'm stitching this. This is 1/1 on this one. I didn't say for some of the others, but the Mirabilia is 2/1, and all the others, anything on Ada is 1/1 or 2/1 most likely. I tend to prefer it. I'm lazy and like the loop start, but for this one I am doing 1/1. Okay. My next start is a small one. So I had gotten, it's the Subversive cross-stitch calendar from last year, with the intention of trying to stitch one a month. It didn't work. I started month 1. I didn't care for it. I've decided this morning that I'm probably never going to finish that one. I had part of a border. But, so I am doing, this is May's, and I'm going to hold it far back because it is actually just the chart, but it's all a black work one. So I am doing this one on, it's an 18 count oatmeal Ada that I got from either Michael's or Joann's all the way back in 2019. So this was like a little scrap piece. So that is where I am at. And this is, looks like it's doing two strands in the black work. And I did do a color conversion from what the pattern called for, just to some threads I had in my stash that I thought would look neat. I do have, when I got back into cross stitch, I read about separating your threads, and my brain said, oh, so you cut every piece and separate them out and keep them short. So I have a whole bunch of like this long pieces of thread. And so I've tried to use them on small projects like with this. So I do have to like rethread my needle a lot, but I'm trying to work through them. So that is this one. And this needle minder I know came from Descent Stitch. I buy most of my needle minders from Descent Stitch on Etsy just because they amuse me. And what are needle minders but for amusement? So that's, I call it my Subversive calendar May. There's at least one other pattern I do plan to stitch from this, but I don't know when I'll get to it. I have plenty to stitch right now. Let's see. Okay, so that was May. I didn't have another start until December. You can see there was a bit of a gap. I was working long term on another project which I finished in December. So I'll have to insert a cover photo for this one. This is just called Whale, and it's from xStitch on Etsy. I started it on December 29th, 2023. And so this is where I'm at. So this is like 51%. And this is a, my phone just blanked out. I believe this is a 16 count in either ivory or off-white or something like that. Purchased from probably Michael's. I get a lot of my stuff from there because, again, I don't have an L&S, so otherwise I have to order from 123 Stitch or somewhere else online. This is another Descent Stitch needle minder. But this is all DMC. It's 2/1. There are some blends in there. So it does take a little bit of time. So this was a January WIP Go call. So I started it a little early in December, knowing it was a WIP Go call because I just was excited. This is one of the projects I had kitted up but never got to back in March and April of last year. So it is on my WIP Go board again. And that'll be for completion. So hopefully, I'll have this one done whenever it gets called again. All right. Trying to set these down too so my needle minders don't stick together. My next start was actually a kit from Riolis. So this is Cat and Flowers. So this, I purchased this, I probably purchased this from Michael's online. I wanted to try out their kits and their wool acrylic. Plus, I mean, isn't she a pretty kitty? Like, she's absolutely beautiful. So I started her on December 30th. I think I worked on her that day, maybe like 2 or 3 days. So she didn't get a very big start. I had thoughts that I could get her done in the month of January with my other things, and I never got around to her. So this is all the, this is the kit fabric, the kit needle, the kit threads, and it is my first time working with the wool acrylics, and I have to say I really like it. I do not remember where I got my taco needle minder, but that was my very first needle minder I bought. And this is a grime guard that I made. And so yeah, it's just been sitting here. I do hope to finish it. This got put in place. It filled a WIP Go spot afterwards. So my WIP Go board had a lot of changes. And I didn't think things through. And so I took something off and this got added in so I can hopefully get it done. And when it gets called, I hope to get it done. It's only 6 by 7 when it's finished. So it's relatively small, but it is dense. So I hope I should be able to do it. We'll have to see. So after that, my next start was actually a birthday start. So my birthday was in February, and hopefully this isn't too bad of a glare. So this is Fish and Ships from Long Dog Samplers. This is my first long dog, and only long dog. So I decided I wanted to start this one on my birthday. So this, and I only stitched on it the one day, but I did get close to 1,000 or just over 1,000 stitches. My needle minder. And I do have a couple of hanging threads because I'm lazy and I didn't want to, I was doing these little borders and I didn't want to cut my thread. I figure I can carry it across when I move it. But this is, I can't remember. 32 count Murano from Zweigart in light blue, which I purchased through Michaels, but from this, it was not sold by Michaels, it was sold by Wizardy. And the main reason was that I had a Michaels Rewards coupon that I could use to get some money off. So this is stitch 2/2, and it is DMC 4025. So you can see I just started up in the corner here, started part of the border, and then started working my way in. That is a very long stretch of the whale, and I think he goes a few more stitches over, but I didn't have space in my Q-snap. If I have a larger Q-snap become available, I might switch this one to it, but we'll see. And this is my little labyrinth needle minder from xStitch, and this one is new. I bought it in around my birthday, because I mean, he's adorable. All right, and then I have, is it 2 more? I have just 2 more. So this one I started on February 6th, and this is what it looks like. It is called Cat Claimed by Sober and Stitches on Etsy. This is actually going to be a gift for my boyfriend. So this is getting finished tonight because his birthday is tomorrow. So if you are a wrestling fan and a fan of AEW wrestling, that is where they are. It is the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn, but as cats. As people who have 3 cats and enjoy wrestling, I thought it was a perfect pattern. So this is a 16 count Charles Craft Ada that I dyed myself. I did a little experimentation in dyeing with RIT dye. It was attempted to be a galaxy, but my dark color didn't work. And I didn't want to try it again, and I realized that it's quite perfect for this. You know, they do a lot of pink, so there are less than 500 stitches left on this. So this is my project for tonight, and then to get it framed. I do not remember where this needle minder came from. It did not come from xStitch. I know that. It came from another shop that I buy from sometimes that I cannot remember the name of, but and this is all the call for 2/1. I have 2 other pieces of cross stitch fabric. One is an 18 count Ada and one is a 28 count Monaco that I dyed that I don't know what I'm going to use them for yet, but we'll see. But this was a fun adventure in dyeing, and it's the wildest fabric I have, well, for now. The last WIP I have was started on February 11th. And so I started this because this was a WIP Go call as well. This is a pattern I wanted to start for a very long time. Well, a year or so. And so I figured putting it on my WIP Go board would get it moving. So this is The Cats Have Arrived from Forest Embroidery, which you can see here. And this is a free pattern you can get on their website. So I have my eyes on one of their fancy kits, but I figured I would try one of their free patterns first to see if I even like stitching it. So this was the first one to try. So I will show you where I got to. And this is about 31%. This is a 32 count Murano in light gray or something like that. I bought it at the same time as I bought the one for Fish and Ships. In fact, I bought the Fish and Ships one thinking it was going to be for this pattern, but I didn't like the blue. So this was a WIP Go call for February, but I did not meet my goal. I had it on there for 50%, which is a little over 5,000 stitches, which I could do if I didn't have a 9,000 stitch that I was trying to stitch on a deadline. So it did not meet its goal, but I'm still very happy with the progress. I think this is maybe about 5 or 6 days that I got to stitch on it. And I'm actually really enjoying it. So I was trying to work on just this center motif. Unfortunately, I lost my bobbin with this brown color. So this was another one of those ones I had cut weird. And I was trying to use it up because I was like, oh, there's not that big of sections that need brown. And somewhere between stitching this tree and this part of this cat and getting up to do something, I came back and my bobbin is missing. It's somewhere under my couch and my cats haven't found it yet. So I've kind of been ignoring that. There was another tree in here. I have another skein. I have a master set of DMC. I had another skein, but it's not DMC brand. It's a similar brand. And for the most part, the colors match perfectly. Like the same number. This is supposed to be 801. They're pretty much 1-to-1, but the color's slightly off. And because I've already stitched in this, the color difference bothered me. So I actually had stitched a portion of it and then decided I didn't like it. So I need to pull it out. I fit not within the same piece. And this was another descent stitch that I felt was very appropriate for the cats have arrived. But yeah, I do have a master set of DMC, but some of my colors are an off-brand, and I inherited those from somebody. So some of my supplies are inherited, and so I have things that are kind of weird. I have some kits that I wouldn't have bought, but I have them in my stash. Maybe I'll stitch them, maybe I won't. But yeah, so I had that. Okay, so those are my 12 WIPs. I am doing WIP Go for the first time with a goal of most of these projects are on there enough times to get finished. There's a few on there that will be starts and finishes. They're small enough, like some of them are 1,000 or just under 1,000 stitches, so they should be no problem. There's 2 larger ones that'll have more calls, and I'll show those to you when we get to them. But so far, I met both my January goals. I did not meet both of my February goals, and I'm okay with it. I did make great progress. I mean, I started a project that I've wanted to start, and I got to 31% of it, which is more than I had. So happy with it. It may not get finished this year. We have to see. My BAP, the Calamity Tapestry, I do want to finish it. I did not work on it at all in February, and I got a few days in January. I do need to prioritize it a bit more, but I just didn't. I'm not very good at schedules, which is why I was hoping WIP Go would kind of get me going. We'll see. But for other plans, I do need to finish, and I will FFO the cat claim project for my boyfriend for his birthday tomorrow. And then I do have 2 planned starts. Actually, I guess it's actually technically 3 starts for the next month. I am doing a temperature pattern. This is sort of for work. So with work, they're doing a stitch along, and I know I haven't started it yet, but I have a very simple pattern. I'll pop what it's supposed to look like in here. I am doing it for my works location. We just relocated to a new facility, and it's a couple towns over. So I thought it would be a fun way to commemorate our first year in our new facility. Work's gone through a lot of changes lately, so I just thought it would be something nice. So I do plan to start that, and that I plan to be my work stitch. So I'll stitch it during meetings, which mostly bigger meetings that I don't need to be involved in. I'm kind of just listening. I find that I need to be doing something, otherwise I'm not paying attention. So cross stitching is really good for that. So that's the plan for that one. I will show progress as I get it. I don't expect it to take long. I have another gift pattern I'm planning to start. It is much smaller. It's not 9,000 stitches. I forgot how many it is, but it is this pattern here, which I purchased off Etsy, and I will put the name of the shop on there. This is for my brother. His birthday's in April, so I have a little bit longer time to do it. But as a joke, he had said he wanted me to stitch this for him, or a similar pattern. So asking you shall receive. I haven't told him I'm doing it, so it'll just be kind of a fun thing for him. And then the other new start will be my other WIP Go call. So Mediterranean Mermaid got called, but then also this is another kit. For it. This is another Riolis kit, and it is called Gentleman. So this one is with Anchor Floss, and I believe it's 14 count Zweigart Ada. So I plan to do it with all of the called for. He is a bit larger. It's supposed to be a start and finish. We'll see where we get. Hopefully we have some time. I found the Mirabilia actually went pretty quickly for me. So I'm hopeful that that will also be the case. So that is my other planned start. So we'll see how that goes. I reserve the right to change my WIP Go goals. Like, it's supposed to be a way to get me to work on things, not to stress me out. And I was stressing out for a while, but we'll have to see. I will show a little bit of haul or stash acquisition. So I did have a birthday, and my parents and my boyfriend's parents were kind enough to offer me some money, and I decided to spend it on cross-stitching supplies. So a few things. I ordered a couple of patterns from 123 Stitch, and actually I got a couple on Amazon. So from 123 Stitch, I purchased this Bella Filipina Luna Mystica. I think she is absolutely beautiful, and this is, you know, this I bought two. I also bought Sol Tropica. So these are my first Bella Filipinas. I don't know when I'll start them, but they are now in my stash, so whenever I want to kit them up, I can. I also purchased, what else did I get from there? I don't remember. So, and also from 123 Stitch, sorry for crinkling. I purchased 2 pieces of fabric. Both are 28 counts from Picture This Plus, and they're Lugana. So this is Mystic. Just kind of a subtly blue modeling. And then I purchased Huntress. Well, this one's much brighter. I don't know how to get it more true to color. Maybe there. These are potential pieces for my next Mirabilia when I finish Mediterranean Mermaid. This will be for Persephone. This is not, neither of these are close to the called for, but I played with Fabric Picker, I think it is. I don't remember the name. I'll put it on the screen and in the description box. And I looked at it, and I wanted to do something different with her, like kind of something more moody looking. So both of these I liked on my computer screen, but we'll see. So I bought them both. I'll either use them or not, and they'll go to something else. You know, one of my other fancy ladies or something else I decide I want to get. So that's what I got from 123 Stitch. I also purchased a couple of patterns. So I found some patterns on Amazon from Mirabilia, from other sellers. So I purchased one by itself because I just really like her. This is Red Lady Pirate. And this is MD113. Again, nautical, beachy, boat. That's my jam. So that's her. I have no idea when I'll stitch her, but I wanted her in my stash. And the next two, I actually purchased kits, which had the called for fabric, the specialty threads, and the beads. So this is Andromeda, which is MD149. I'm not going to show you the threads and the fabric. I have so much out right now, I didn't want to deal with it. So she will, So she will be an eventual stitch. I have no idea what order I'm going to stitch these ladies in. And then Botanical Garden, which is MD177. And this came with, I bought it with the kit with the beads, the Karen water lilies, the Krennic, and the fabric. So, and I have a whole master set of DMC, so it's a matter of just pulling what I want to pull. When I stitch her, I might do a skin conversion. I'll get to it when I decide to stitch her, but I think that would be really pretty. Also, off of Amazon, I purchased this cross stitch with Catitude by Emma Congdon, which has some fantastic patterns. You know, some of them there. So these will be maybe eventually I'll stitch. There is one in here. I gotta pick one of two. I think I'm gonna stitch for a friend for Christmas. But again, I'll decide that later. So I highly recommend it if you like cats and you like Emma Congdon. I've never stitched one of her things, but I always liked her designs. And this just seemed perfect. And then the last thing I got off Amazon was a Dimensions kit. So this is Floral Flamingo, and I just think he's absolutely beautiful. So no idea again when I'll stitch it, but he is now in my stash. Maybe at some point I have a few kits lying around. Maybe I'll do a kit parade at some point. And then this one I just picked up at Joann's because I just thought it was cute. This is another Dimensions Gold Petite Sunflowers. I might stitch this for my parents. They just moved out of our childhood home and are in the process of purchasing a new house. And I thought maybe a nice little stitch for them might be nice. No idea when I'll get to it, but yeah. And then lastly, I have a few needle minders that I purchased recently. And these all came from Descent Stitch. So in addition to my Idiot Box one, I had to get, let's see, Gizmo from Gremlins. I've never done this before, so I'm sorry if this is blurry. But had him, another Labyrinth themed one, the Babe with the Power, and this one, ooh, magnet sticking together, Live Every Week Like It's Shark Week. Once upon a time I wanted to work with sharks. Life didn't take me that way, and that's fine, but I can still love them with needle minders and patterns. I do have a Cross Stitch magazine that has a really cool blackwork shark that I want to get to someday. Someday, right? And then I did buy some Easy Grid fabric and 18 count to try a full coverage on, just because I was thinking about it and wanted to purchase some off Amazon, but you guys have probably all seen Easy Grid, it doesn't matter. So yeah, that's my WIP parade, and that's my haul. I plan to do once a month videos. Since I don't stitch on all 12 things, I probably maybe maximum of 4 things, maybe 5 if I get really wild, in a month. So I don't think having more frequently than a month is necessary. So that's the plan going forward. I may eventually do quilting videos or other crafting. If you want to see that, I can put something together. I can probably put together what I've done. I have a bunch of quilt tops that aren't quilted. I could do those. I could also do a finished parade for this. And if you really wanted to see it, I could show maybe some of my crochet stuff. Some of my stuff, I don't know if it needs to be let's just say I enjoy making things out of crochet that you probably shouldn't make out of crochet. Let's put it that way. If you really want to know, I do have a Ravelry under Naughty Nautilus, and I do have things I've crocheted there. I do have a blog as well, which I can link below, but it has not been updated in a long time, and it's all crochet at this point. I haven't spent the time to try to update it. I don't know whether I will or not, but it holds patterns that I've designed for crochet that I want saved for posterity. But if you want to see those, maybe I can do some sort of extra. But if not, thank you for stopping by today. I really appreciate it, and hopefully things will go well, and I'll see you guys at the end of March, beginning of April. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it.